Alright guys, I'm back in the Don Garlitz Museum. I decided to come back out and get a little bit more footage. I'm here with Nick and Maddie from Hustlin Horsepower and Lady Gangster Racing, and I'm just going to ask them a question and they're going to talk about what they do and whatnot, so let's get to it. So you sold your house about 8 months ago. What made you do that and go racing pretty much full time?
Well, the whole purpose was like New York. I've been doing this stuff pretty hardcore for quite a while. I started off probably in high school, and then like 2013, just a couple years after high school, I did drag week for the first time. And ever since then, it's just like, you know what, like this stuff's cool, and like I like the aspect of racing, like the challenge aspect of it. I used to wrestle and stuff like that, and I was a pretty decent wrestler. Then some health issues got in the way, and it's like, what's the next thing that you could really like divulge yourself in, where you can challenge yourself and really see the try to see the fruits of your own labor, and like in a point where you're dependent on yourself. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a support group behind it, and no matter what you do in life, but
the result is like because of the work you put in.
Yeah, there's a direct correlation to the effort and the knowledge that you've gathered, and the effort that you've put in for yourself. So I've been doing this stuff pretty hardcore for quite a while, and in New York, it's just not the place for it. You know what I mean? Like back in like the 60s, the 70s, Southern, even a little bit before then, Southern California was the place to be, and then Indy was real big. Right now, like Mooresville, North Carolina is the place to be, just for like the mecca. This like a lot of the racing industries there, not just in drag racing, but like racing as a whole in motorsports. So ideally, we'd like to try to find a shop or live in the Carolinas. But in the meantime, we're like, hey, the market was like the housing market was getting decent, and we had some pretty big opportunities with our former car, the Dirty 30. Social media marketing opportunities and some like cool opportunities, and it's like, you know what, we had to turn down a couple TV shows and a couple TV show opportunities and stuff like that because we had full-time normal jobs, and it's just like, you know what, like there's no time like the present to try to make something happen, and we had to pass up just too many opportunities, and when you pass up too many opportunities because you have to go back to work on like Monday morning and you can't miss
work.
You can't miss work. At some point, you got to take a chance in life, and I was like, you know what? Like, there's enough. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not there yet, right? But there's enough. There's enough potential and enough. What you want to say? There's enough there.
Like, we're able to take that leap. We haven't fallen on our face yet. Like,
Yeah,
there's enough of that leap there left.
There was enough traction.
Yeah.
That we firmly felt that the potential is there to try to make something out of ourselves in the industry.
Yeah.
So if you feel like there's traction there, I'm not saying you can make it or not, but like if you don't make the jump, you're
never gonna make it.
You're never gonna make it.
Yeah.
So.
And you're never gonna know if you can make it if you don't take that jump.
I wouldn't be able to live with myself like that, and like I passed up on some like really big opportunities working for some big shops, or doing some really cool stuff, working for some different race teams, and I want to put the destiny in my own hands, and it's just like we almost got to that point like recently when we got hit and lost our second car in 18 months, and I almost got to that point where it's like, okay, maybe it's time to go work for someone else, but it's like, you know what, like let's just start trying to pick up the pieces again, and I guess that's the position we're in right now, is just trying to pick up the pieces after losing another car, and to get something back together and get back out there, because that car, the last car that we had quite a bit of potential, and
Oh, absolutely. I remember seeing that on Facebook, and I immediately called my dad, and I was like, did you see what happened to Nick and Maddie? And he was like, what? And I was like, someone literally just plowed into the side of him again. Yep. And my heart broke for you guys, because you work so hard on stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
that car had it was giving us results that we were looking for.
I never found the threshold on that car ever. Like, figured out like what that car, like at what point that car wasn't happy. So like we lost the 30, and we had the house up for sale, or we were getting the house up ready for sale, because we had some big opportunities with the 30. And then the COVID stuff started happening, and it's just like, and we lost the 30 right at the start of COVID. And it's like, so in 5 months, we remodeled the whole house, like repainted the whole outside of the house, the inside of the house, refinished all the floors, and like literally, we put literally $5,000 into the house, because that's like the money that we had. We had $5,000, and we were able to like refinish the whole house, and we built the 33 in a matter of 5 months, and that was no joke, like 120 hour weeks at least, for 5 to 7 months after the accident. And we got the 33 together, and that car showed a lot of promise, and we had the house up for sale, and we sold it ourselves. I put on my suit and my tie, and became a realtor. We did a little YouTube video marketing the house, and we had what, 3 offers on the house? I think we had 3 offers on the house in the first week, just listing it ourselves, so we didn't have to pay the realtor fees and everything else like that. So literally paid just a few $100s to have a lawyer write up the contract, so we could profit as much as we could on the sale of the house, like liquidate as much as we could. And we basically sold off everything else that we had.
I sold my truck.
Yeah, we sold both of our trucks.
Yep.
Well, I sold my truck just before we lost the 30, like literally like days before we lost the 30. And that's the reason why we went to the race where we lost the dirty 30, because we had a little extra money, and the 30 was starting to come along too. And yeah, so we sold the house, and we became race car hippies. And the car just had so much potential. It's like, you know, like we could float for a little while, and like we don't necessarily have to make a lot of money right now, because we became hippies essentially, right? We got rid of like all of our
major bills.
All of our major bills. Like she sold her pickup truck, I sold my pickup truck. We sold like all the frivolous things, and it's like just got our bills down to nothing, so that we could go and really make it, like try to make a go at it. And 5 months into owning the car, we got hit and rolled 3 times, and it was like 25 feet in the air. And luckily the car saved myself. I built both those cars like from scratch, from nothing. But yeah, saved myself. So
we thought about trying to like make sure that chassis was good, and like redo. We found a 4-door body, so we had to redo the back half of it so that the bars fit in the car, and be able to make use of that back seat, because we've got a dog that we throw up in the car and stuff like that.
He's not allowed in the museum, but yeah, he travels with us everywhere.
Yeah, we've got friends that we'll put in the back seat, like we had in the back seat of the Dirty 30, driving around and stuff like that. So we wanted, if we had that 4-door car, we wanted to make sure that we were able to use that back seat. So Nick rebacked half that car, and we were trying to get it ready for sick week, but
yeah, we were gonna cruise around sick week and stuff like that, but we were in the small tire, no prep stuff. We were like, the stuff was starting to come around. We went 165 miles an hour to the 8th, and we went 113 60 foot. So like you put those two together, like those were 2 different passes, but if you put those two passes together, like that's rolling. And we went real low 5s on like the backside of the track. On the street, we went 526 at 152 on a 28-10-5 tire, just small tire, and that was in like I guess you could say the old small tire rules, which was factory style front suspension, factory firewall, factory wheelbase, this, that, and everything else. And the new rules are basically an outlaw 28-10-5 car just needs to have steel roof and quarters, and it's just like, I'm so close to, like, you know, if this is what you guys want, like we could go do stuff like Carlos did, you know, where like there was a time when there wasn't many rules, and like you could really be a innovator and like really like do things to the point where someone without a big budget can really come and swing. But at the same time, like I've been around this stuff long enough, and I've followed this stuff long enough, and like seen the history of the sport, and I firmly believe that like those rules aren't going to last long, just because there's not enough support to go as fast as that goes. So like if we go and build a car that's like an outlaw car that we could like go and swing with some big money people, the rules are going to pop up again, and they're just going to kick us out. So it's like we'll build another car that's like competitive. I firmly believe within a year that car will be outlawed. So it's like what you do at that point. So it's like so
Yeah, so you have to keep coming up with different things to do and changing every single time.
Yeah, like he's had I don't know how many swamp rats, right? But
I think it's 33. 33 swamp rats.
33 evolutions in his years of racing, right? And that guy started off with nothing. You know, just doing it and doing it and doing it. But at the same point, like when you start, I'm not saying like, I don't know how to say this, but like he became successful, right? As soon as he started becoming successful, they started making changes on him, and you got to keep on changing the evolution. And like you might be doing something that's like really, really working, and then they outlaw it, and it happens a lot in racing where, not necessarily money, but like someone that puts in the effort and puts in the time starts figuring something out, and instead of rewarding them or letting them go and push the limits of something, they put a rule on them to let the other people catch up that aren't putting in the effort and aren't putting in the time to catch up to that guy. And it happens a lot in like NHRA racing where they where they add weight to them, or they restrict boost on them, or they do this or that, and it's like
do that for that car or for the class?
Well, for the class, but it
affects that car.
They target.
So the class that I do, we all have different letter rankings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we just got. I don't think my particular class got hit, but there were some weight things that were wrong for years and years and years, 20 years, 40 years, something like that, and they just changed it all. So now those guys have to go and change what they've been doing, which granted it was wrong, but
it changes everything.
It changes the entire game and how they approach certain things. So I definitely know the adding rules way too well.
And it's just like when you add rules, you know, certain rules will totally screw up a car. And like when like the 33 that we built, like that car was so versatile, and like it was it fit all the rules, but it had a lot of versatility. I mean, like I could adjust crankshaft center line at the drop of a hat and still have full suspension travel, and I could change. I'm not going to say everything I could change, but like there was a lot of stuff that I could change on the car that like we've never talked about. But yeah, like some really cool stuff. But as far as the rule set goes, if one car, like we literally had that car 6 months, right? And like that car was doing some like really impressive stuff. But you give us that car for a year and a half.
Well, we were out there racing with the guys that had their cars for 25 years.
Yeah.
And they're out there.
Yeah, and like
doing well,
like,
and we're
swinging with them and like doing like pretty well against like some of these guys. And
they've got, if you have a car for 25 years or whatever, like
you know,
even 5 years, 10 years, you're able to, you know how the car's going to react. You
really know the ins and outs of the car, and like for how well that car did, like how well that car did in a short period of time we had it, and like never finding the threshold of like what the car didn't like it just like it had quite a bit of potential. And it's just like do we go and build an outlaw car? Do we go build another twin to that car? Like what options you go, and like that's just like the pickle that we're in right now. Is just
that's the next step we got to take.
Yep, that's the next step. Fortunately enough, when we lost this car,
there's a lot that's
it was blood, sweat, and tears, but like we were able to save quite a bit of stuff off of it. So like when we lost the 30, I lost everything. Like that car burnt for quite a while, and we can't go into complete details, but like that car burned for like 15 minutes, and like it just destroyed everything. But like unfortunately, like this crash, like I made quite a few changes to try to prevent any fires, and like the rollover vents, and like the way I relocated the vents for the car. Like I made the vent on the car was like 22 feet long or something like that, to route it in a way that like if something rolled or something cracked, that like the fuel vent like was way away from anything like that.
All the expensive.
Yeah, it was like away from the electronics and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, try to isolate the electronics. So, but fortunately, like that one didn't light up, but it's still, you know, when you break it down, like all the wheels and like it destroyed the chassis, right? So
But it's good that you did get to save some of the stuff off that car instead of losing literally every single thing again.
When we lost the 30, there was literally like $15,000 worth of electronics that were going like that. So like, that one sucked. Yeah. Well, on top of everything else, but just in electronics, it was almost $15,000 in electronics that we lost at the drop of a hat. So yeah, we have quite a bit of the bones to build another car, and we have 16 sticks of chromoly sitting in the trailer waiting to be used, and ideally they'd be going in their Chevy 2 wagon, but we're still on hold waiting on parts for that thing. So like it's like and I promised her the next full car we'll build will be for her, and then
if I can't
2 weeks after
get
that,
my parts.
2 weeks after that we got freaking drilled, and it's just like we had a car that was like going to start making us money and like living the lifestyle that we do, like living in the toter home and stuff like that. Like we don't need to have a whole lot of money, but at the same time, so like one or two like good wins a year, like will keep us flowing like perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like so, yeah. It's hard to be like
a race car hippie without a race car.
Yeah. So like we got our shirts like it's like screw it, life short, sell it all,
go racing.
But like. It's kind of hard to go racing when you don't.
That's the hoodie I have on too.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of hard to go racing full time when you don't have a race car. So, but yeah, like that car was coming along, and it was starting to be quite impressive. And going 165 to the eighth on a small tire and a no prep, and that's 22 pounds of boost, and we went in that right there on that pass. In other passes we've been 5 mile an hour faster to the 330. So. So like that's 100. That should have been like if we put those two passes together, we're like 172 miles an hour, something like that. So that's starting to come around on a small tire, like
If we were to come here, what size tire would you put on a car? Would you change the tire size?
Yeah, most definitely. If we were to here running like an outlaw stuff, like we don't have the power to run like with like Stefan and stuff like that, or like the real unlimited cars, but we are still factory frame stock suspension type deal, and ideally I'd probably go with like a 10.5W or something like that, 33 10.5W, like an old outlaw 10.5 tire, just because there's enough tire there to be consistent, but there's not too much tire there that if you get on a tight track like in Gainesville was, the track was really, really tight. And having the big tire, like, it struggled. Like, we literally, the fastest pass of the day, they only went a 120/60 foot, and like we've gone 113 on the small tire. So like, no prep. So like, it's just the track was just way too good, and the tires started folding over themselves. So I'd be on a medium tire to probably do this stuff.
Hopefully next year we'll have two cars here then.
Yeah. We're gonna try to come up with something. We'll come up with something eventually, but first we need to find a shop to rent for a short term. We thought about like the Bradenton area for a couple months before the heat rolls in.
Heck yeah, come down to my place. Come down to my town.
I like Bradenton.
Until it's summertime. It's fine until it's
the summertime. Like
dead of the summer.
We gotta work too much to be working at 105 degree, freaking 100% humidity. But
that's when you have redneck AC units. You put them on the door. I'll have to find a picture and show you.
Are you talking about they're almost like cardboard type things where the water rolls over them? Yeah, you're cute. Who, me? Oh, this place is freaking cool. I'd love to do a private. I'd love to do a private walkthrough with him and see how his brain works, because we just at Texas Roadhouse, that guy we met there.
Yeah.
A very successful business guy that we just stumbled upon at Texas Roadhouse, and just talking.
It's interesting to talk to people like that.
Talking with extremely intelligent people. It's just cool seeing, getting a glimpse of the wavelength that they operate on. That's cool. But
get that glimpse of your wavelength on a daily basis.
I'm just I suck at the YouTube videos and stuff like that, because it's very hard to know your audience and be able to articulate things on a wavelength that they can understand and they can appreciate, but they don't
Yeah, but we can't do that.
Yeah.
There's people on YouTube that are up here, and you might be here, and there's people that are on a different topic. They're out there too, but they just need things, explained a little simpler. You don't have any idea.
That's the hardest thing about like doing the YouTube thing is knowing your audience when you literally like they're invisible. They're there, but like
for sure you don't know who they are.
You don't know who they are.
You don't know like what to explain.
Yeah, it's totally different having a face-to-face conversation with someone.
Yeah.
Or trying to talk to someone that you don't know who you're talking to, and it's just like
for sure.
That part about it's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
I guess that's basics of it.
I'm always rooting for you guys. Just know that. And
there's so much potential. It's like
oh, I know.
Like, it sucks.
You'll get it, and I'll be very happy to watch it when you guys get it. So.
And like we won that second chance race there at Dig or Die, and we were literally
Rockingham Dragway.
Yeah, I think there was 140.
Yeah,
I think there was 140 cars there, and we legitimately made the second fastest pass the first round, and we lost like 140 freaking cars, and that was no joke, $16,000 to win. And we came through, and we won the second chance race, and we literally were probably 2/10 faster than everyone else there, and probably 10, 12 miles an hour faster than everyone else there. And it's just like, but like,
it sucked, but it was also like,
it's like
finally we got away.
Like we finally there's like that's when people first started to see the glimpse of what the potential the car had. But we knew the car had it in it for a while because we did a lot of testing without without saying nothing, just on the street and back on the track stuff. But yeah, there's some cool stuff, and there's a lot of good people in the sport. So
oh, absolutely, I agree.
We're excited to see where it goes, see how long we could stay afloat. I don't know.
Or just not go under. Yeah, not go under. Stay afloat. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, we could bob a couple times. Like right now we're bobbing. Right now we're a little bit below the water, but we're still able to like.
It's okay. Sometimes you gotta bob to get there.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta bob a little bit before you can start treading water again. But yeah, there's just so much potential. It's cool, and we're fortunate enough that we've been doing this for quite a while. That we know some pretty talented people, and I love bouncing the ideas off of them. And I gotta say, probably Eric Yost is probably one of the people that I most appreciate in the industry, just because that guy will never give me an answer, and I love that about him. Like I absolutely love it about him. I don't know if I've ever even told him that yet, but I absolutely love the fact that he'll never give me an answer because I feel like he believes in like what we can do, and he believes that we have the knowledge to make it happen, and he'll just feed you a couple little tidbits, but like he won't tell you to do this or tell you to do that, but he'd let you make your own decision. Like
he'll give you hints. Yeah. He'll open a door and let you walk through it if you want.
Yeah, he makes it like just like in like wrestling and stuff like that. Going back to that, like it's up to you to make the decision, up to you to execute it. But like if you feel like you got it, like he'll be like, yeah, like he won't even give you a kick, yeah, go do it. But he'll be like, yeah, you're on the right path there, like go for it, kind of thing. And
that's awesome.
I love that aspect about him. That's cool.
They're closing down.
Okay, they're closing down.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.